my hands on you, I'd break your dried flesh to pieces. But your power is too strong.
Now this creature is the bringer of death. He will never eat, he will never sleep, he will never stop.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Town Reviews, welcome back to Remake Rumble. This week, I know it's supposed to be Pet Sematary, but I decided last minute I wasn't looking forward to doing it. The first movie's good, I liked it, I enjoyed it when I was little, it scared me, but I was not looking forward to rewatching the remake. And after talking to a friend of mine, he said, it's my channel, so I should be looking forward to making videos. And so I decided, what if I do The Mummy? And he was like, absolutely. My cousin Drew also agreed with us on that. So I said, well, I looked into it and I was like, well, which one do I do? Obviously, 1999. But which one do I do? Because there's 1932, which is this one. There's 1959. And then, of course, 2017. And I'll get into that in just a second. But first, let me go back to this. This is the original to this. The movie in 1959 that stars Christopher Lee is not a remake of the 1932 The Mummy. It is a standalone film. The only connection that I saw was the name and the princess in that movie. Her name is Princess Anuk, which is real similar to these two, Anux and Amun. But I know she's not a princess in this one. Anyways, we'll get into it. Anyway, so this week, 1932, The Mummy versus 1999, The Mummy. We have Boris Karloff playing the titular mummy. We have Arnold Vosloo, I believe is how you pronounce that, playing the titular mummy. Of course, the scene-stealing, show-stealing character of Rick O'Connell, played legendarily by Brendan Fraser. Again, get into all that in a minute. I'm just so excited. The Mummy is one of my favorite movies. Growing up, my mom got me The Mummy and The Mummy Returns for Christmas. And I knew she got it for me. I found a receipt. And so I opened like a bad kid. Remember? Bad Steve. I opened my present just so slightly on the side to where I could slip the VHS out. And I watched The Mummy, and then I put it back in, and of course, Mom caught me, I got a spanking. And then I got to open the Christmas present still on Christmas Day, but I did not get the movie for a month. It was traumatizing, but I learned not to touch my Christmas presents. So, let's get into it. I've never seen this. Before I did this video, I didn't know this was a remake. For the longest time, had no idea. But about a year ago, I found out, I knew this movie existed, but I did not know that the 1999 The Mummy was actual remake to 1932's The Mummy. So that was not supposed to happen. I apologize. This new camera, I'm still learning how it works. I forget if I hold a hand signal too long, it'll replicate it through reactions. Anyways, I didn't know that 1932 was the original work and that 99 was a remake. I learned this. I told some people, then I forgot about it. Didn't forget about The Mummy, obviously. I just forgot that it was a remake. And so I wasn't thinking about it when I made my schedule, and now that I'm actually doing it, I was so excited. I was happy, like I was dancing while I was typing notes. I was pumped. Finally watched this. Boy, is it from 1932. I enjoyed it. Let me go ahead and put that out there before I get into this video, and I kind of say how much I didn't like certain things. I did like it. It's this story on a much drier scale. So I did enjoy it. I like old movies, and I like the old monster movies. So naturally, I thought I would like this, and I did. But does it hold up to this? We'll find out. Okay, so in this corner, we have 1932's The Mummy. It was the third, I believe, the third or fourth, I'll put a correction if I need to, the third or fourth monster movie made by Universal, following Dracula and Frankenstein for sure. I don't remember if this came before Wolfman, but if it didn't, it is the third movie made in the Universal Monsters original classic monsters lineup. And then, of course, 1999's The Mummy is a 60-plus year later remake. Let's get into it. The Mummy, 1932, directed by Carl Freund, right off the bat. It is a haunting classic that birthed the iconic monster movie archetype. The story follows an ancient Egyptian priest resurrected after centuries of accursed slumber, wrapped in decayed bandages, driven by eternal love, and the priest's eerie, slow-burning menace starts to unfold as he seeks his lost beloved, reincarnated in a modern woman. The shadowy cinematography and the priest's hypnotic, hollow-eyed presence craft a chilling tale of obsession, mysticism, and forbidden rituals. The film's blend of gothic horror and tragic romance set the stage for Universal's monster legacy. All right. Now, The Mummy 1999. Directed by Stephen Sommers, is a swashbuckling adventure that reimagines the classic monster tale with a pulse-pounding blend of action, horror, and humor. Again, kind of lacking in the horror. There's some things that are creepy, but lacks in the horror a little bit. An ancient Egyptian priest, cursed and entombed, awakens in the 1920s, unleashing supernatural chaos as he pursues power and his long-lost love. With dazzling effects, from scarab swarms to sandstorm spectacles, the film follows a roguish adventurer and a spirited librarian battling the undead terror. High-energy direction by Sommers and exotic locales craft thrilling, campy romp that revitalized the Mummy mythos for a whole new generation. That pretty much kind of sums up this Remake Rumble, if you want me to be completely honest. But let's be fair. Let's go through it. All right, now to the measurables. It's time for the fight, if you will. Cast versus cast. First up, 1932. Sir Joseph Wimple, played by Arthur Byron. Ralph Norton, played by Bromwell Fletcher. Frau Miller, played by Catherine Byron. Frank Wimple, who plays David Manners, who is known best for playing John Harker in 1931's Dracula, as well as the Mummy. Dr. Mueller, played by Edward Van Sloan, known for being a mainstay for Universal Monster movies, with credits in The Mummy, Dracula, Dracula's Daughter, and Frankenstein. The Nubian, played by Noble Johnson, known for roles in The Mummy, Song of Kong, King Kong, and The Most Dangerous Game. I've never heard of Song of Kong. I didn't even look into what it was, so if you know what it is, please let me know. A Moon, and, see, I watched it. Here we are with a name that I can't say. Helen Grosvenor? I am so sorry. I know that's nobody's actual name, I don't think. But, okay. She is both characters are, played by Zeta Joan, known most for The Mummy. She had a couple of other things, but they weren't starring roles, so she's known for The Mummy. Now, 1999. Boy, buckle up. Mr. Henderson, played by Stephen Dunham, known best for his role as Edward Pillows in Dag. Also known very well for The Mummy, Paranormal Activity 4, and Monster-in-Law. He did unfortunately pass away in 2012, so rest in peace to him. Mr. Daniels, played by Corey Johnson, best known for work he does in the UK, but he's known for a plethora of supporting roles in films such as Hellboy, Kingsman, The Secret Service, Captain Phillips, Kick-Ass, and The Bourne Ultimatum, among others. He's one of those career caricature actors. Just always in movies and doing a good job. Mr. Burns, played by Tuck Williams, Best known for One Life to Live, the Warden Gad. Now, if you saw any of my videos on Facebook, you know that I practice this, so if I say it wrong, whoops. Warden Gad, played by Omid Jalili. That is, his last name is, I really wanted to get it right. I didn't want to be disrespectful. But he got into acting in 95. He had several small roles, but now is a touring comedian. I didn't know that. I didn't know, one, that he was even active anymore. I've only ever seen him in The Mummy. Dr. Alan Chamberlain, played by Jonathan Hyde, an Australian actor best known for Richie Rich, but who doesn't know him from something? Especially us millennials, from Jumanji, Titanic, Anaconda, and most recently The Brutalist. He's been in everything, it seems. Captain Winston, played by Bernard Fox, best known for Bewitched and Hogan's Heroes. The original Bewitched. The original TV show, not the movie with Will Ferrell. All right, Dr. Terrence Bay, played by Eric Avari, known for The Mummy, Independence Day, Stargate, and he was most recently in the show The Chosen. Jonathan Carnahan, played by John Hannah, known for 4 Weddings and a Funeral, for which he was nominated for a BAFTA, Sliding Doors, and of course the Mummy franchise. Ardith Bay, played by Oded Fehr, F-E-H-R, Fehr, known for The Mummy and its sequel The Mummy Returns, also known for being in Deuce Bigalow with Rob Schneider. Benny, played by Kevin O'Connor, known for The Mummy, Deep Rising, Lord of Illusions, and Van Helsing. I always forget he's in Van Helsing. He plays Dracula's little stooge, if you will. Anuxinamoon, played by Patricia Velasquez, known best for The Mummy and Mummy Returns, The Curse of La Llorona, which I didn't know she was in that. I need to go look and see who she played. I've seen that movie a few times, and is she La Llorona? Yes. Perhaps her most wide-range credit, though, is Arrested Development. That's what most people seem to know her from, if not The Mummy. Other than the titular mummies, these are the 2 most well-known actors from this film, the show stealers. Rick O'Connell, played expertly by Brendan Fraser, known best for his role as Rick in The Mummy, but also he is known for his versatility, ranging from action hero to comedy to drama. He got his start in a movie called Dogfight in 1991. I believe it was just a little bit part. Then he co-starred with Pauly Shore in Encino Man, as well as School Ties from that same year. He later had a huge break in George of the Jungle. That's when he kind of blew up a little bit. Then, of course, The Mummy, Blast from the Past, and Bedazzled. Several movies kind of came out within those next couple of years. Unfortunately, he disappears for a while because of some things happening to him and stuff he had to deal with that not my place to discuss. That's not what we're here for. It is unfortunate, though. But he did come back with a force, landing a role in, I believe, I'm going to say the wrong thing. I did not put it in my notes, and I apologize. He did come back as a villain of sorts in, I believe, Arrow or The Flash. I might be wrong. It may not be either one of those, but I really believe that's what I remember reading. But for sure, came back with a bang, winning the Best Actor Oscar for his role in The Whale. He is one of those actors from my childhood I've always loved watching. He is probably my 3rd favorite actor ever. Evelyn Carnahan, played by Rachel Weisz. Rachel Weisz. I'm pretty sure it's Rachel Weisz. Evelyn Carnahan, played by Rachel Weisz. Best known for the Mummy franchise, she's an Oscar-winning actress from her role in The Constant Gardener. She's also notably known for Constantine, Black Widow, The Lovely Bones, Oz the Great and Powerful, and is reportedly to be connected to the Constantine sequel that's been announced recently. This feels like an unfair fight between cast, really the whole thing. As far as cast goes, the cast overall from 1932, if you look at their credits, they're unexperienced at the time that they made it. They didn't really take off and weren't in other things. And it shows. All the performances are wooden. Even Karloff's performance of the Mummy is wooden. I'll get into that later. I still like the movie, do not get me wrong, but you can tell this movie was made in the 30s. It's rough. The acting's not great. The characters are portrayed in a very boring manner. That's my honest opinion. Okay, Mummy 99, however, cast full of good to great actors. Not a single poor actor in the movie. Closest thing to a meh actor in performance is Jonathan. But Jonathan is endlessly entertaining with his hijinks and just stupidity at times. But he's the closest to bad in the film. Despite legendary status of the actor who plays Imhotep in 1932, it just doesn't hold a candle to 99. Point goes to the Mummy 1999. Okay, next. Story versus story. 1932 is a slow burn that never truly picks up. Movies then had the ability to, if you've watched Frankenstein, Dracula, or The Wolfman, they all have better action, tension, and have more interesting story points. The Mummy borrows heavily from Dracula, which is what makes that the biggest problem. They borrow from Dracula, they still miss the mark. They do not land the plane. It's bad. As far as when you compare the stories being played out. Now, 1999, Sommers went for broke in his film. He took big swings with changing several things from characters to creating characters. For instance, Imhotep in 1932, when he is alive again in the current age, he goes by the name Ardith Bey. Well, Ardith Bey is his own character. It's an old separate person in 1999. So he creates characters. He changed things up. He mixed up certain things, but still borrows heavily from that original Dracula storyline because it's a remake of 1932. But despite that, whether it's the actors, whether it's the writing, whether it's the filmmaker, or all three, it blows 1932 out of the water with the way the story unfolds. It unfolds in a much more cohesive manner, in a much more entertaining manner. And let's not forget how quotable 1999 is. Just one quote, I promised myself I would only do one. Who didn't go around or hear people going around? Hey O'Connell, looks to me like I've got all the horses. Hey Benny, looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river. You hear that, you heard it. Whether you said it yourself like I did or you heard it from other people. So maybe from me, I don't know. But point goes to Mummy 99. Horror, action, and kills. 1932, no tension, no action. All the kills are off screen. Imhotep is being buried alive is the best death in the movie. It's the most horrific thing, you know? The only other death that's really on screen besides Imhotep being buried alive is what looks like a heart attack. He puts a man in a trance and passes away on screen. Just, it looks like a heart attack. Boring. I'm sorry. 99. While the film is much more action, adventure, comedy, the tension still builds. And like I stated in Story versus Story, creation and use of different things, such as the scarab beetles in this movie. They're a special type of scarab that eat meat. Those don't exist. This was created for the movie. Terrifying. Still, I've always been scared of black bugs ever since. Didn't matter what it was. Does not matter. I don't care if it's a black grasshopper. Get it away. You know, the kills are horrific. They're disgusting at times, but in the best possible way, of course. And I'll never not appreciate the wall of sand Imhotep creates. He tries to use to crash the plane that Winston is flying with the other heroes on. Point, 1999. So, normally I've had final girls. There is no final girl technically in either movie. It's couples or friends that turn into couple. Anyways, it's multiple people is my point. So there's no technical final girl in the Mummy story, no matter which movie you discuss. So I titled this section the Bel Amour, the French word for object of desire or affection. So, the Belle Amour, 1932, Helen. She's very bland. Mostly the way women were portrayed in the 30s. It's unfortunate, but that's just the truth. And it's not fair to her in this case, but she's meek, she's confused, and she's brainwashed most of the film. And she got on my, her decision making got on my nerves. So, sorry. I said what I said. That's the way she's portrayed. Don't hate me for stating how she's portrayed. 1999, Evelyn or Evie. She is vibrant. She's a multifaceted character who jumps off the screen. She's sharp as a whip with quick wits. She's bookish, but that does not take away from the adventurer side of her, or the explorer side, if you will. She has an actual personality. There's a mix of intellect and independence, but she's still vulnerable when she wants to be. Point, 1999. The Mummies, or The Killer, if you will. 1932, Imhotep, played by the legendary Boris Karloff. Known for monster movie roles such as The Mummy, Frankenstein, and its sequels, as well as being the Grinch and the narrator in 1966's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In The Mummy, his portrayal of Imhotep is boring and mostly predatory towards Helen. Not that Imhotep isn't at least a little predatory in the remake. I'll get into that in a minute. But he's mostly predatory towards Helen, with trying to in his pursuit of trying to get the soul of Anck-su-namun back into her body. He was wooden and boring overall. He wasn't scary. Maybe in the 30s he was. He just wasn't. Not to me. 1999, Imhotep, played by South African actor Arnold Vosloo. Known best for The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, but has prominent roles in movies like Blood Diamond, Hard Target, and he was in an episode of Psych. I always get excited to watch that episode because I like Arnold Vosloo. His portrayal of Imhotep was full of fury, forbidden passion for his love of Anck-su-namun, and wanting her back. He has a presence that blends regal poise with monstrous menace, and he makes you believe the love he has for Anck-su-namun. He does look slightly predatory when he kisses her while she's asleep. He even imagines her before he kisses her. That's predatory, that's weird. But beyond that, as far as his desire or his drive to bring Anck-su-namun back from the underworld, you believe him. He's so much better portrayed in the remake. Point, remake, or Mummy 99. Before I close and go over the winner, I think it's obvious, but stick with me. I do want to give a special recognition point, or pity point, if you will. I know some people will just say it was a pity point. I do want to give a special recognition point to 1932. The reasoning for that being, it was the third movie that was made in the monster movie universe, or the original monster movie universe, I should say. It became the inspiration for so many re-envisionments. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're keeping it in. It's been referenced by countless works of entertainment, from comic books to movies to special episodes of TV shows. It's an important movie, at least in the zeitgeist of monster movies and classic monster movies. It does borrow from Dracula, but I think people like it. It deserves special recognition. The winner without competition, obviously, The Mummy 1999. This is the best remake that's ever been put out. Now, I recognize fully that the movie that came before it, or the movie that it is a remake of, was made 67 years prior. That is not even close to a night and day's difference in technology, acting ability, the ability to seek out help with acting. It didn't stand a chance, but I love this movie, and I did not want to do the 2017 version because the 2017 version is not a remake. It is a reboot of this franchise, of the Mummy franchise, and it is set in the same universe. No, those two aren't in it. Their characters are not talked about, but the Book of the Dead is referenced, and it is stated as a reboot of the franchise, not a remake of that movie. This, however, remake of this movie. So I wanted to include it. Great legacy that this movie's a part of. Absolute, devastatingly good action-adventure horror, if you want to call it that, movie. Like I said, Best remake that they've ever put out. Yes, I acknowledge this movie was made 67 years prior, but name me some remakes in the comments. I want to know what you think versus its original makes it better than this. This is the best remake ever made. Be blessed, everybody. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys next week for Stephen King's It 1990 versus 2017/2019. Yes, I'm including everything. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a fun one. I'm so excited to do that one too. See you guys next week.